Ever fallen in love with someone you knew you could never really have? Yeah, that kind of love. The one that keeps you awake at night, the one that feels like a dream and a heartbreak at the same time. The kind of love that burns bright, fades fast, but never really leaves you. Johnny Depp knows that kind of love all too well. If you've ever looked back on someone from your past and thought, what if things had worked out differently? Trust me, you're not alone. That's exactly what we're talking about today, impossible love. The kind that hurts, inspires, and shapes us. And when it comes to impossible love stories, few people have lived through them quite like Johnny Depp. Today, we're diving into his story, the man behind the mystery, the artist behind the heartbreak, and the lover behind the chaos. Because when you look closely at Johnny's life, you realize that every great performance he's ever given came from somewhere real. Somewhere deep. Every romance, every heartbreak, every tattoo, it all tells a part of his story. So stay with me till the end, because what might seem like a string of failed relationships is actually something much more profound. It's a story about art, about love, and about learning to keep your heart open, even when it hurts. Let's start from the beginning. Back in the early 90s, Johnny Depp was already becoming a big name, young, mysterious, different from everyone else in Hollywood. And then, he met Winona Ryder on the set of Edward Scissorhands. Now, imagine this, two quiet, shy souls working together on a film about a boy who can't touch the world without hurting it. It's poetic, right? They were both introverts, both a little lost, and somehow, they found each other. Johnny fell deeply, almost recklessly, in love with Winona. He even tattooed "Winona Forever" on his arm, that's how sure he was. But love, especially when it burns that hot, doesn't always last. When they broke up, the pain hit him hard. And in true Johnny fashion, he didn't just remove the tattoo, he changed it to "Wino Forever." It was funny in a bittersweet way, but it also said a lot about who he is. Someone who doesn't erase the past, he transforms it. That relationship didn't just end, it marked a turning point. It became part of his identity, part of how he saw love, beautiful, wild, and fragile. After Winona, Johnny spent years trying to find balance, something real, something calm. And then, he met Vanessa Paradis. Vanessa was different. She wasn't part of the Hollywood whirlwind. She was French, elegant, grounded, and quietly confident. Their relationship wasn't about flashing lights or drama. It was soft. It was home. Together, they built a family. 2 kids, Lily Rose and Jack, and a life far away from Hollywood chaos. For over a decade, they lived in quiet harmony, splitting time between France and the US, avoiding the spotlight whenever possible. For Johnny, it was peace. The kind of peace he'd never really known before. No screaming headlines, no wild parties, no emotional storms. Just love, music, and family. But even calm seas have waves. When that relationship ended, Johnny admitted it was one of the hardest times in his life. He once said, "It wasn't easy on me, it wasn't easy on her, it wasn't easy on the kids." And you can feel the truth in that. Because sometimes, even when 2 people love each other, life just takes them in different directions. And honestly, who hasn't felt that? Who hasn't lost someone who felt like home? Then came the chapter everyone knows, the one that turned from love to heartbreak in front of the whole world, his relationship with Amber Heard. This was a love story that began with passion, fire, and intensity. 2 actors, both strong personalities, both drawn to the storm. But what started as magnetic soon turned turbulent. Their marriage, their split, the legal battles, it all became public. Painfully public. And through that chaos, the world saw a side of love most people don't talk about, the side where love and conflict mix until you can't tell them apart. It was messy, tragic, and impossible to ignore. But here's the thing about Johnny. He never stopped feeling. He never became numb. He kept searching for meaning, even in the pain. And that's something that separates him from so many others. Because while most people try to run from heartbreak, Johnny turns it into art. Look at his films, from Edward Scissorhands to Finding Neverland, from Pirates of the Caribbean to Public Enemies, every character carries a piece of him. You can feel the longing, the loneliness, the depth. That's not acting. That's lived experience. People often say, celebrities can't feel real love. But when you really look at Johnny's life, you see the opposite. He feels too deeply. He's the kind of person who doesn't just fall in love, he dives into it. And that's both his gift and his curse. Now, let's talk about something interesting, why love feels so intense for people like Johnny. Psychologists say that creative people crave emotional highs and lows. They need that intensity, not because they enjoy suffering, but because it fuels their imagination. They don't just experience life, they absorb it, transform it, and express it. Every heartbreak becomes a story. Every goodbye becomes a song. Every scar becomes a lesson. Johnny once said, "You can close your eyes to the things you don't want to see, but you can't close your heart to the things you don't want to feel." And that says everything about him. He doesn't hide from emotion. He faces it, even when it breaks him. That's the soul of an artist, someone who feels everything too much, and somehow turns it into beauty. So if you've ever felt haunted by someone from your past, someone you can't forget, no matter how hard you try, maybe you're like Johnny in a way. Maybe your heart just feels things deeply. Here's something worth trying: instead of fighting those feelings, create something from them. Write about it. Paint it. Sing it. Turn your pain into something beautiful. That's what Johnny did, again and again. Because sometimes, the love that doesn't last forever, still changes you forever. And maybe that's the point. When we think of impossible love, we usually think of failure. But what if it's not failure at all? What if those impossible loves are actually the most important ones? They show us who we are when everything falls apart. They teach us how deep we can feel, how much we can give, and how strong we really are. Think about it. Every person you've ever loved, even the ones who broke your heart, left you with something. A lesson. A song. A story. And for Johnny Depp, those stories became his life's work. Each love, each heartbreak, each moment of vulnerability, it's all there, hidden between the lines of his characters. When you watch him play someone broken, lonely, or misunderstood, it's not just acting. It's truth. It's memory. It's the echo of a love that couldn't last. That's what makes him one of the most fascinating artists of our time. Not the fame. Not the scandals. Not the roles. But the raw, unfiltered humanity behind it all. He's lived through the kind of love that destroys most people, and he still manages to love again. That takes strength. That takes courage. And maybe that's what makes impossible love so powerful. They remind us that love isn't about forever, it's about truth. About connection. About feeling something real, even if it hurts. Because in the end, the heart doesn't need a happy ending. It just needs a true one. So let me ask you this: what's one impossible love that taught you something about yourself? Maybe it was someone you lost. Maybe it was someone who never knew how much they meant to you. Or maybe it was a love that changed you, even though it ended. Think about it. What did that love teach you? Did it make you softer? Stronger? More cautious? Whatever it did, it made you who you are today. And that's worth something. If Johnny's story teaches us anything, it's that love, even the painful kind, is never wasted. Every experience, no matter how hard, shapes the way we see the world. It teaches us empathy, creativity, and resilience. So next time you think about that one love that didn't work out, don't just see it as a wound. See it as a chapter, one that had to end so the next one could begin. And if you ever need a reminder of how beautiful and tragic love can be, just look at Johnny's journey. From Winona to Vanessa to everything that came after, he showed us that love isn't something to be understood, it's something to be felt. Every heartbreak, every mistake, every second of passion, it all matters. Because in the end, those impossible loves become the best stories. They're the ones we never forget. They're the ones we tell ourselves late at night. They're the ones that remind us that being human means risking everything, even when we know it might break us. So here's to Johnny Depp, the man who loved deeply, lost painfully, and still believed in love anyway. And here's to you, for every love that didn't work out, but still shaped your heart in ways you'll never forget. If you enjoyed this story, there's another one you'll love, The Pain Behind the Art of Keanu Reeves. It's another emotional ride, filled with depth and humanity, just like this one. And hey, if this story spoke to you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and hit that little bell. Not because everyone says that, but because every week, we dive into the real, raw, and emotional stories behind the stars. Stories that remind us that fame doesn't make people perfect, it just makes their struggles bigger. So, before you go, remember this: impossible loves make the best stories. Because they remind us that love isn't supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be real. And even when it ends, it leaves behind something eternal, a piece of who we were when we loved without fear. So hold on to that. Cherish it. And never be afraid to love again, even if it feels impossible. Because, like Johnny Depp, you might just find that the most beautiful stories, the ones worth telling, come from the loves that couldn't last.